The solar energy market has become increasingly saturated, leading to widespread misinformation and a lack of transparency. Welcome to the Harmon Solar Podcast, offering a straightforward, honest perspective on going solar. Each episode dives into key topics to help you better understand the industry. Our goal is to educate and empower you to make informed decisions about solar energy. While solar may not be the right fit for everyone, we believe everyone should take the time to explore it. Our mission is to increase your knowledge, not your bills. In this episode, Ralph and Ben sit down with Elena Chrimat from Ideal Air Conditioning and Insulation to uncover what's really behind those unexpectedly high energy bills. From oversized AC units to leaky ductwork, this episode gives you the insights you need to take control of your home's comfort and performance. Let's talk energy audits.
Welcome to another edition of the Harmon Solar Podcast. I'm Romano, VP of Sales and Marketing at Harmon Solar. And with me as always, is my partner, my friend, my guy.
There it is.
Ben Wollschlager. You guys know him as Mr. Everything. Ben?
Yes, this is our new studio.
Yeah,
it's nice.
This is exciting.
Good looking professional studio.
This is either going to come out really well or really bad, but we're going to figure that out.
The only downside of having this new setup is, with our old setup, as you know, people have seen before, it's you just see, waist up. Normally I wear like gym shorts and flip flops, and I just have like my Harmon. Now I have to, nice pants and nice shoes because you see, this is who I am now. This is all of
This is the first day I've worn pants in a month.
Yeah, I know. Gym shorts was so much better.
I'm all about shorts.
We're doing it professional now. We're doing it right.
We are. So today, which is a special day, we have a special guest.
Yep.
Because we are going to tackle the topic of energy audits, which we'll get into in a second. So with us today, we have Elena Chrimat, right? See, I got that right with Ideal Air.
Ideal Air, that's right.
Ideal, what did you say? Ideal Energy?
Energy, I don't know.
Yeah, that was all wrong.
Yeah.
So it's Elena Chrimat with Ideal Air.
Yep.
Welcome, Elena.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys.
You're our first guest in our new podcast setup. Congratulations.
Do you feel special?
Yeah. Very, very happy to be here today.
Yeah.
But do you feel special?
I am special.
That's good.
I like her. I like her. So we want to get into your industry because that's something we get a lot of questions about actually from customers. I know you do especially.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about what an energy audit is. But before we get there, so tell us about your business. So how long have you been there? What's your role there?
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Elena Chrimat, and I am co-owner of Ideal Air Conditioning and Insulation.
See, I told you.
Have been doing this for 16 years now.
16. Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yes. And our business has evolved quite a bit since the initial phases. And, we started out with just testing homes, and then we realized testing homes wasn't really saving any energy off of people's bills. And soon thereafter, started fixing ductwork and insulation on the weekends, and then realized that a lot of air conditioning equipment was not installed correctly or grossly oversized and contributed a lot to the energy bills. And so then we brought air conditioning in-house in 2012. And so now we're full turnkey, vertically integrated air conditioning and insulation and home performance.
And you serve the entire valley?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Very important.
Yeah.
So Ben, tell us why would we want to talk to somebody that does energy audits?
Yeah. So part of what I do at Harmon, someone will call in, our customer or a different customer or whatever, and they'll say, hey, I have solar, but my bills are still kind of high. Why is that? So it goes to me to kind of figure out the why. When I talk to these customers, I say, well, there's two reasons and only two reasons why your bills would be high. Either your equipment's not working or your usage is going up. So let's look at the first one, your equipment. What's it supposed to produce and what's it actually producing? So if it's supposed to produce 20,000 kilowatt hours a year and it actually produces 20,000 kilowatt hours a year, then I tell the customer, well, if it's not number one, then it's got to be the second option. So let's look at your usage. It has to have gone up. So I take a look at what did you use last year and what did you use this year? And, in those cases, their usage has gone up. Now, my problem is, looking at their utility bills and things like that, I can only see the numbers, the totals. I can't find out the why. So when I look at their usage, I go, hey, it's gone up. Why is that? In 99% of the time, homeowners go, well, nothing's changed in my lifestyle. I'm like, well, something obviously changed because your usage has gone up. Did you get an electric car or a hot tub? Did you have a house guest that moved in? I don't know. I'm just looking at the total numbers. I don't know what's going on in your home. Did you adjust your thermostat down? And again, homeowners will say, well, no, I didn't do any of that. Nothing's changed. So then that's when tell them, you probably need an energy audit then. Find out what's going on in the home, because somewhere in your home you're using more. And again, I can't tell where. So you need to have some sort of professional to come out and find out where's the energy going in your home.
So tell us, so when your company goes out there, so what's involved in an energy audit? What should a customer expect when you guys get there?
Okay, so traditionally, an energy audit, what someone would think about it as would be blower door testing, which is basically coming up with building leakage, and also duct leakage testing as well. However, what we found is that we can do this in a more rapid manner and save the initial energy audit costs by just doing what we call an energy audit express. And so the whole theory behind it is, if I tell you that, your home is leaking 2501 CFM50, that doesn't really mean a lot to you.
No,
I have no idea.
Nothing.
It sounds professional though.
Exactly,
sounds
right.
Great.
So the same goes for the duct system as well. So what we do is we'll essentially do an express audit. We'll get in the attic. We're looking at ductwork, leaks. So if there's visible holes that we can see in the collars, connections, as well as the building envelope from the attic space. So if there's big drops that we can see, or insulation is missing, or it's just not installed correctly. And from there, we can, determine, hey, like, you have actual room for improvement or not. The other thing that we can do as well, if it's just like a sudden spike in bills, a lot of times, yeah, sure, it might be like a ductwork, disconnect or something like that, just randomly occurring. But a lot of the times it's, the air conditioning equipment. So let's say it's an aging piece of equipment, it's older, and it has a leak or something like that just has occurred. And that's going to cause the system to obviously use a ton more energy and the bills to spike, and obviously cause comfort issues in the home as well. So
yeah, I noticed that a lot too, because I don't just look back, the last year. I look at previous years, and if I start to notice that their summer usage is the culprit going up gradually each year, that to me goes, that's got to be AC unit. So like, I take a look at how old's the home. I talk to the homeowner and I go, how old's your AC unit? Oh, I don't know. It's like the original one for my 20-year-old home. I go, well, it's probably that. So get an energy audit, because it's something with your AC unit that's causing your usage to go up.
Right.
But that's good that you brought up, ductwork too, because that's something that a lot of homeowners don't obviously see all the time. They have no idea if there's energy being leaked, through their ductwork as well.
Yeah.
What kind of tools or things do you use during an audit? Is there any specific?
So we're really big on airflow and what we call static pressure on an air conditioning system. We're using a manometer and essentially coming up with what the pressures are. So how much resistance is going through the coil, basically. If those numbers are too elevated, then that's going to tell us that system is way overworking itself. That's part of the Energy Audit Express. So, some homeowners, they're engineers, they're very into the numbers and the nerdiness of that. We
have those customers.
I like those guys.
Yes. And so with those, sure, we'll do a full energy audit where we're using a blower door and a duct leakage, like a duct blaster, for example. And that's going to give us our exact numbers. However, that is pretty expensive. It's pretty labor intensive. It takes multiple hours to complete something like this. And when you could get the same kind of results, which the outcome is, hey, what do I need to do without getting those geeky numbers? More often than not, I'd say 99% of the time, our homeowners are going with what we call an Energy Audit Express. So
you have multiple options.
Yes.
So there's the Express, and that's basically how long does an Express take?
It should take about anywhere between an hour to 2 hours or so to complete
Hour to 2 hours to do your
Yeah.
Express version, and the other version?
The other version will take 3 to 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's extensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So those like a full on energy audit for us, like it's going to start at $500 and go up from there depending on how many AC systems they have and what the square footage is. But like I said, we're generally advising customers to go the more economical way, especially up front, because you don't really need that. So
is it a set price for an Express versus the other one, or is it based on the size of the home? Is that those play factor? I'm just curious.
For an Express, it's just $99.
Okay.
So it's basically an in-depth estimate, if you will.
pretty good.
So
That is
we're
pretty good.
really evaluating everything and if aging equipment is involved, then what we'll do is we'll stick it in what we call a load calculation software. It's called RightSoft. And then we'll be able to see, hey, is this system oversized or undersized for the house? And then, we'll determine, hey, could that be a culprit?
Right.
And a lot of our homeowners have issues with comfort. So they might have certain rooms that are hotter or colder than others, and they don't know why. Why such high temperature differentials, and they just can't stand or bear to be in one of the rooms. So
I've lived in one of those houses where the
Yeah.
bedroom was ice cold
Sure.
and everything else was hot.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hate
That's
that.
like my mom's
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Is that
It's my mom, 2-story home, and like one side of the house gets really cold and the other side of the house gets really hot. I'm like, what's going on? I don't know. But you mentioned something that's kind of piqued my curiosity. You said an AC system that's oversized for the home. Forgive my, ignorance in the industry.
Ignorance is a good word, yeah.
I know, thank you. In the industry, just because I don't know. But in my mind, probably because I'm a bit of a saltwater aquarium enthusiast. So like when I build like my saltwater aquariums, I kind of oversize a lot of things like my pumps and my filters and all that stuff because I don't want to deal with a whole lot of the maintenance. So it's better for me to go bigger on that. So with an AC unit, I would just think like, oh, my home, I want to go with a big AC unit and I can cool my home faster instead of a small one that's going to be running constantly. Is that not the case? You shouldn't go too big on a home for an AC?
Yeah, that's correct. So you definitely don't want to be just what we call short cycling. So system turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off.
Okay.
You want longer run times on a piece of equipment. The thing that you're explaining though, like since you do have aquariums and other things that might, put heat into the house, what you do when you do the proper load calculation is you'll account for that. So you can include that in your load calculation. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, because I was just thinking if I have a small home, I want a big AC unit, it'll cool it down real quick, but you don't want it to do that because it'll, like you said, it'll keep cycling on and off, and
that's what we don't want.
A lot of wear and tear on the, on the
so
AC.
think about it as like a vehicle, right? So when are you using the most gas in a car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you step into the pedal. Yeah.
Exactly. So same thing goes for an air conditioner, right?
It's like putting a Ferrari engine in a Ford Focus.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you're a saltwater. I didn't know this.
You've been to my house before. And you saw
I don't look at things around
giant
your house.
200-gallon aquarium.
I didn't know it was saltwater.
It was the first thing that you would walk in and see.
I'm not observant with your
You
house.
didn't see like eels and fish and all that stuff.
My eyes were on you, so
That's weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
And that's our show.
So I want to go back to the services that you offer. So you have the express service is $99. Then you have I will call it the nerd service, right? The more detailed service for the engineers.
I like
Yes.
that. I like that.
The Ben service, right? So it's for the engineer, it's for the guy that really likes data, the woman that really likes data. Is that different charges depending on the size of the home, or is that a set charge?
Yes, that's different charges depending on the size of the home. Mm-hmm.
But it's more than $99.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like because there's a lot more work
$500.
that's
Yeah.
going to be involved. So
And do the utilities offer any kind of a rebate or anything like that for what you do?
No, right at the moment they don't. There is actually SRP will offer $100 for the more comprehensive
Oh, really?
energy audit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that still doesn't, offset much of the cost. So
I'm not asking the cost. Don't worry.
yeah. So they used to actually offer some pretty extensive rebates, but those kind of, have dwindled. However, they do offer, like SRP, for example, offers $600 for insulation as a rebate.
Oh, wow.
And then $400 for duct system sealing. And then anywhere, from $75 per ton to $225 per ton for an air conditioning system. And then for APS, it's, a little bit lower. So we're talking $250 for duct system sealing, $250 for insulation, and $200 for an AC replacement.
I had no idea.
I did not know that.
See that I'm learning.
Every episode we learn
Right.
something new.
I didn't know there was anything for any of that stuff.
We put on these episodes, these podcasts, so that our listeners can learn something new. But every single time we do this, we end up learning something new. So that's okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, the cool thing now, though, too, is there's something called the IRA. And so there's some tax credits as well. So there's a $2,000 tax credit for a heat pump that is 16 CO2 and above.
Okay.
And then there's also a $1,200 tax credit for insulation.
Man,
It's good to
I
know.
need to get a new heat pump.
I know who to call.
And I know who to call now too. Mine's 15 years old. But wow, these are things that I didn't work. I mean, obviously our industry has a ton of stuff that we play with.
Sure.
Yeah, this is good to know. So you should go back to your homeowner that, again, you kind of talk about why would you need to use this kind of a service. I guess you kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you go out and do this, is there a most common thing that you typically find? I mean, I'm assuming you're probably working with homes 20 years or older for the most part, maybe not the newer. Like we see in solar, most people that contact us 20 years plus have been in the home. They're looking for solar.
Yeah.
Right.
We do get some of the newer stuff, but it really just seems like the bulk of people are 20 years plus. Do you see that same thing?
Yes, absolutely. About 20 years, that's kind of the sweet spot, or older. The newer homes that we find, that contact us with issues with their energy bills, more often than not, what we'll do is guide them into an AC checkup. And so what we'll find is the system might be like undercharged, or it might have a leak in it, or something like that's going on. And that's obviously pretty impactful for the energy bills. So
right. Is that on the newer stuff?
Yeah, that's generally on the newer stuff.
On the older stuff, what do you typically find?
Gosh, it ranges.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, it could be, like I explained for the duct system, most of the issues that we're finding are in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
So duct system could be holes in the system.
Not enough insulation.
Attic, big gaps in the attic that you can see that penetrate all the way down to the actual indoor space. And then obviously the HVAC as well. So
yeah, that's another thing that when I talk with these customers, about their usage has gone up and they say nothing's changed. Like, I keep my thermostat at 78 and that's never changed that. Like, okay, you've set it at 78, but there are outside factors that are heating up your home, and your AC is now just working harder and harder and harder to keep your home at 78. If you have bad ductwork or, poor insulation and things like that, yes, your home is at 78, but instead of your AC running for 5-6 hours, now it's running for 12 hours just to keep it at that temperature.
Yeah.
So that's the issue that, a lot of homeowners they don't know what's going on in their walls and ceilings.
Right. Yeah. And also filtration plays a big role into that. So a lot of the returns that we see where the filter goes, they're like very, very undersized. So that will restrict airflow. And if homeowners, sometimes they forget to replace their filters, we've seen them just sucked up all the way into the return. And that's really a restriction. So that's going to cause a spike. We've also seen systems that are miswired, and they will, for example, the AC will turn on at the same time as the heater. We've found that. And obviously that's going to cause, $1,000 bills just, because they had somebody out there that kind of didn't know what they were doing, or a homeowner decided to try to replace the thermostat, miswired it. So, we see the wildest things.
Speaking of air filters, I've seen the debates. And I think you probably know where I'm going with this. A lot of people don't know what type of air filter should I get? Should I get the really cheap ones that it's not filtering a lot of stuff, or I should get the really nice expensive one that filters out all the stuff?
3-ply.
Yeah, exactly. It's real thick. You hear the pros and cons to each. Like the really thin ones, it's easier on the AC unit. Doesn't harm the AC unit, but then the thicker ones, it does. So in your opinion, what is the best type of air filter that people should get?
So this is obviously a big topic, right? So more people think exactly what you just described. But for the super cheap ones, they're like 99 cents or $1. You can kind of see through them. They're flat. They're either blue, white, or green.
Yep.
They don't capture very many particles. So while they're good for airflow, the particles can penetrate and then just get clogged in the coil. And then you've got issues with your coil getting clogged up, and then you have to clean your coil, right? So we don't necessarily like to recommend those, but you can get either a 1-inch pleated filter. Those work just fine, but with a 1-inch pleat. So you'll see the ones that they sell at Costco, very, very tightly pressed together as an accordion. You don't want those. Those are those will cause too high of a resistance, also known as static pressure. So that's what we don't want.
Okay.
Now, if you're somebody that has asthma, or you have, allergies in your home, or just in general, what we recommend is to size the return box accordingly. So we can put what we call a 4-inch thick MERV 13 filter. So these filters, instead of being 1 inch, they're just 4 inches. And when you spread them across, like the surface area that you're getting is it's like 3 times the amount of just a 1 inch pleated filter. Mm-hmm. So those have a good pressure drop among them. And that's what we'll recommend for energy efficiency and filtration.
Okay. You said that if there's returns not sized correctly, so are you seeing a lot of that where the returns are too small?
Yes. I would say 95% of homes in Arizona have too small of a return.
Wow.
For people that don't understand what that means or what that is, what is a return?
A return is where you put your filter in your home. So it's just that grill that drops down and then you put your filter in. So.
And you said how many percentage of people?
I would say 95. Yeah.
So if you're listening, guess what? Odds are.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, mine's huge. Aren't most of them just huge?
Why is that? Is it a builder issue? Or
it's obviously a builder issue.
Yeah.
It's, when they were building these homes, a contractor goes to bid, right? And so whoever has the cheapest price will generally win the bid. So a smaller return costs less than a bigger one. So that would be one example. Also, the type of grill that you have. So there's a stamp-faced grill versus what we call a bar-type grill. A bar-type grill, the louvers are spaced out a lot further apart. So it's more aerodynamic. It will reduce static pressure versus a stamp-faced grill. It's just stamped out of a factory. Builders use them for cheap bids, and a lot of homes in Arizona have them. Those will increase static pressure, which will increase resistance, which helps to increase your bills, which is what we don't want.
I'm thinking now with comparing my home to my mother's home. I have a 1-story home, 1 AC unit. I have 5 returns. So I have 5 different air filters that I have to put in my home.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Yes. So
awesome.
5. One in the master bedroom, 2 in the hallway, another one kind of off to the side in the hallway, and 1 in the office.
Yeah.
My mother, 2-story home, 2 AC units. She has 1 air filter. It's an older home, much older home, and it's bigger than my home.
I would think 1 would be more common, and maybe somebody did something custom on that.
No,
or do you see
these are mine's homes are track homes, like they're all the same, but I always thought it was weird. I have 5 different filters that I have to change.
Well, and I'm wondering if those are jumper ducts or if they're actually returns. So when you have your AC running and you put your hand up to it or whatever, does the filter actually get sucked up?
Yep.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe your home was weatherized, or maybe you've got an Energy Star home or something like that where they're, taking
I just know I haven't
good
had
return amounts into account.
I know it's very energy efficient. I haven't had to turn my AC on this year. So
awesome.
Even though we've hit.
What?
I know. Crazy.
What year was your home built?
2021. I think
well, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's probably the reason.
Yeah.
That was a good thing to share.
I said my home was newer.
That's a lot newer.
Okay, well,
that's really new.
I know, but I always thought it was weird that my home was smaller than my mother's home. She has 2-story, 2 AC units, 1 air filter.
What do you think? So here's something maybe a little different. So obviously, I'm not from Arizona. Everybody knows that I'm not from here, but
he's proud of that.
I'm not proud of that.
Where are you from?
I'm from California.
Okay.
I'm from Los Angeles. Sorry. Don't know people don't like that. But anyway, the one thing that I've found living here, the allergies are horrible. There's dust on my house and inside the house that's unbelievable because we're living in a desert. It gets the layers of dust. If you don't clean it every other day, is just ridiculous. And I don't know what to do about it, right? So there's these people that sell these ionic machines that go on the ducts or that you can use separately that's supposed to help with that. Have you had any experience with that kind of stuff? I know some companies like yours sell those things. Are they worth a darn? Do you think they work? Are they bad?
Yeah. So for us, our big thing is, do no harm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the UV lights will emit what we call ozone, and ozone is not very healthy for you, right? So the UV lights that we sell, they don't emit any ozone, and they do help with, cleaning the air. It smells, makes it just a lot more crisp. I have one in my home. It works great. But it's not filtration, right? So when you're saying, hey, my home is really, really dusty, I'm wondering, how often are you shutting your interior doors? Mm-hmm. Do you have room pressure issues that's causing a negative pressure, which means that, the main cavity of the house is becoming negative. So air flows from a positive to negative, which will bring dust and debris from outside. And that's why your home is more dusty. Or you might have leaks in your duct system that's coming into the house, and that's causing it. We've gone back to homes where we've sealed and replaced ductwork, and the homeowner will tell us, every morning I used to come to the stovetop and I would just wipe down my stove, black stovetop, so you can really see the dust. And she's like, after you guys were done, I don't have to do that anymore. So
you could do an energy audit, even if your home's not experiencing a whole lot of, my bills are going high. I'm just noticing my home is dusty.
Absolutely.
I need an energy audit.
Yeah.
So I need an energy audit.
It sounds like you need an energy audit.
Well, you probably have solar on your home, so your bills are probably fine.
My bills are good. It's just the allergens. It's just the dust.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you said that. So I didn't realize that ozone, because a lot of those machines do emit ozone.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
You don't want to breathe ozone, right?
I guess not.
It's O3. Yeah, you breathe O2, not O3.
Not my thing, man. I just plug it in and it does what it does, right? So that's interesting. I hear a lot of people that do have the sealing issues. I know there's that stuff called, is it AeroSeal?
I've heard it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you guys...
So we don't do AeroSeal. The main reason for that is it's only good for holes that are 1/8 of an inch or less. So we find holes that are much larger than that all the time.
Really?
When you do find holes that big, then you need to reinforce it with some other type of fiber material. So like a fiber mesh, and then you put the mastic over it. So for us, like, we're actually touching every collar, every connection with our hands and sealing it up and then reinforcing it when it's applicable. I think AeroSeal works great for like a flat roof house where it's not accessible, then sure.
Okay.
But,
that makes sense.
If you've got access to the ductwork and the full attic, the hand seal method definitely is far superior. So we've gone in, actually. We did a study. We were part of a study back in 2012 where we tested a bunch of homes that actually did have AeroSeal. And what we found is a lot of ductwork was still leaking. And it just didn't make a lot of sense to us. And that's why we decided to just stick to the hand seal method.
Because it's not capturing the holes bigger than 1/8 of an inch.
Right. And again, will it make it better than what it was? 100%. Yeah, absolutely. It will make it better. But for us, we feel that the best way to do it is to put our hands on it.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, when a customer calls you and says, hey, my bills are, like you talked about earlier, my bills are still high, what's going on? We check the solar and everything's good. Then you say, maybe you need an energy audit, maybe this or that. So we know why they're calling us and we push them to a company like yours. Are people calling you saying, hey, my energy bills are too high, so I want you to do an energy audit? Or are they saying other things? I'm just curious, the reasons they would call you directly.
Yeah, a multitude of reasons. So it could be the energy bill issue, or just people calling in saying that they have hot rooms and they're just so sick of it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Also, people might want an energy audit so they can know what to do before getting solar. We've had that. They want an energy audit so they can know, what to do before they replace their air conditioner. Just a variety of reasons.
Do you guys ever talk a percentage of like efficiency or savings that you can offer by doing certain things?
That's very difficult to estimate, is what we found. So
I love that answer because there's so many companies out there that say, oh, it's about a 30% efficiency increase and this and that, which is absolute BS.
Yeah.
We know it's BS. So I love that you said that because it's so true. You can't estimate that. You don't know.
Yeah. We get those calls all the time. How much is a solar system? Like, well, it depends. A lot of salespeople will try to do their different sales tactics. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to depend. I need a lot of information from you first.
Right.
I'm not just going to give you a number. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Are you more more seasonal? Obviously you're doing your AC stuff, so I'm sure they're seasonal. Do you have a lot of people where you're getting ready to get into summer? They want tips from you. They want to know what they can do. They want the audit to get ready for summer.
Yes.
People that want to, I don't know why you'd winterize here because it never gets cold, but it'd be more probably for us, we're very seasonal. So as this time of year, again, March, April, we start seeing 90s and we start blowing up. Yeah. Right. And is that the same thing with your business?
Yeah,
typically?
It is pretty similar. Absolutely. Especially with HVAC, so we're full service. So right now everybody's, people are just turning their air conditioners on for the first time. So maybe it's not working good or it's not blowing as cold or whatever the case is. And we just get an influx. But plus people just want, they think now's a good time to add insulation to their home and everything. But, you're not the only one thinking that. So it's kind of hard to keep up with all of that.
That's the same thing.
As you guys know.
Same thing I tell solar customers too. They wait till it's, June and July and they're like, oh, I want to get solar now. Like, you should have got it back in February when you knew the temperatures were going to increase and your bills are going to increase. Now it's too late. Like, let's be a little proactive and get it done beforehand.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you see that too in your industry. It's, hey, it's middle of July and my bills are high. Oh, great.
How often should somebody get an energy audit?
I would just say one time, honestly.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, unless you're making changes, drastic changes to the house. So what we find is anytime, you have the cable man in your attic, or you have an electrician in the attic and they're messing around with your can lights, or you're adding lights, or whatever type of remodel you're doing, then sure, yeah, have another energy audit done so you can see, hey, is my attic still okay or not? Because anytime you have somebody in the attic, really the last person to be in the attic should be the insulator. Anytime you have somebody in there, they're trampling through it and you don't know what they're going to do. They might have to cut a duct and squish it to get to the far corner of the attic to put that light in. So
that's a good point.
So, I mean, I was going to talk about red flags. You hit on so many of them, right? You talked about rooms that are hot, particles in the air. There's different things. There's even appliances. You guys don't look at appliances at all, do you?
No.
So that would be more of that's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
I would say the pool, though, is a big one.
Okay, yeah, the pool.
Okay.
Like the pool pump and things like that.
Right, yeah. So a variable speed pump obviously helps dramatically. I actually put one in my house back in, 2015 and measured the reduction. And over the year, I saved about $1,200 off of my energy bill just from, upgrading to the variable speed. However, nowadays, in this day and age, a lot of homes already have these pool pumps in. So.
I will agree. Mine didn't have it, and I bought, and it's nice because it has the app, and I can play with it. And yeah, I've saved a ton of money doing that. That's if you have a pool and you don't have a variable speed, you need to bite the bullet and go do that.
Yeah, I always tell people when I'm looking at their energy bills, the bigger the device and the longer it runs, that's going to be the bigger impact on your bill.
Yes.
You think of your AC unit, it's huge. How long does it run in the summer? 20 hours a day. Okay, well, that's going to be the majority of your bill. Because I do get those customers who are like, well, I switched all my lights to LEDs and I hardly ever run the TV or the microwave. I'm like, okay, those are small items.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a huge change on your bill. So I'm sure, doing an energy audit, people are like, well, I switched to LEDs. Is that going to be a huge impact? Like, no. It's great that you did that.
Yeah.
You might have saved a couple cents, but it's not the bigger issue is your pool pump, your AC units. What are these big ticket items that are going to be causing,
Yeah, the third one would be the water heater, I would say, for
heater.
sure.
Again, another big item that runs for a long time.
Right.
Bigger the item, longer it runs, more impact on your bill.
Yeah, but like a refrigerator, for example, that'll save $90 a year for upgrading to an Energy Star.
Yeah.
So I would say get one if you want, but don't do it for energy savings.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys deal with the water heaters and stuff? Do you do that too or no?
Not yet, but that is coming here in the fall. So
okay.
Yeah.
So are you going to do the what are those called? The ones the non-traditional ones?
The tankless?
The tankless. Are you guys going to mess with that or are you going to just do the traditional?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Tankless. And then obviously heat pump hot water heaters are a big thing. So that's something that is also tax credit eligible and
heat pump hot water heaters.
Yeah. So basically it has a little mini condenser next to it and it's basically a heat pump hot water heater in a tank and it works really well. So
I've never heard of that either.
You're learning something new every day. No, I haven't heard that. No.
Yeah.
That's coming soon, you said.
For our company, yes.
For your and there's a tax credit for it.
There is.
Nice. Are you learning something? Because I'm learning a lot. Wow, that's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
I do. I want to look at the tankless thing because I think that's interesting. People keep saying I hear a lot of good and a lot of bad, so I don't really know. I mean, do you have an opinion on the tankless water heaters?
I mean, I think it's as long as you're upgrading your water heater to something more efficient, whether it's tankless or tank or whatever it is. I think the most efficient that you can do is a heat pump hot water heater. But
I'm gonna look that up.
I'm gonna Google it.
I've never heard of that because my water heater is like probably 12 years old and it's hanging on by a thread.
It's hanging on.
It's one of those things. So when it comes to your company, so the one thing that we have the challenge that we have on a daily basis here at Harmon is why Harmon, right? It's always that question. Why we have to sell our company? Why are we best? And I can give you a million reasons and you'd get bored. But they're all true.
I'd like to hear them.
We got time.
No, you really don't want to hear them. But Of course, podcast. But I want to know why, as our customers, why should they call you? What is different about your company? What is the thing that separates you from everybody that's out there in the Phoenix area?
Yeah. Well, the best thing I think is that just we're vertically integrated. So a lot of companies that do energy audits or home performance, they might subcontract out their HVAC, for example. And for me personally, I think the as an owner, the reason why we chose to bring it in-house is so you just have full control. You get your guys certified. You can know what you're training them and hold them accountable, honestly. And just know the people and their integrity and their values and what they care about, I think is a really big thing. Mm-hmm. So that would be the first one. Okay. And then the second one is, we just do things right by properly sizing equipment, for example, or the ductwork. We know how to design it. I mean, we literally go through studies. We've gone through geeky conferences where we figure out the best way to do something, so we kind of take it to kind of the nerdiest level that you can take it. And so, if you just kind of want something to just get you by, we're probably not the best fit for you as a homeowner. Right. But if you want something that's very, very high quality and you're going to get a product that will yield results like comfort in the house and just, good energy usage and just good air quality, then we're the partner for you. And it's not cheap because these upgrades aren't cheap. As you know, solar isn't either. It's just, what are your goals, right? So, and we have solutions for all different types of budgets and everything. But, it really just depends on what the goals are for the home. And the third thing is we're still locally owned and operated, right? So a lot of HVAC companies here in the Valley have been bought out by private equity firms. And, you still have me. You still have my business partner and all of us under one umbrella. So I think that matters too, to keep your dollars local and not,
Absolutely.
throw them to.
So, what I heard is family owned, right? Integrity, which, wow,
sounds very familiar.
It sounds
another solar company I know.
Yeah, sounds like it. Locally owned and operated, right? So you got a local throat to choke.
Yep.
That's the way we say local throat to choke. You remind me a lot of us.
Yeah.
I can just feel it. I've never met you before, but just talking to you, your values are very similar to what we do. Right. We're not the cheapest.
Right.
But there's a reason for that.
Exactly.
Right? So you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And I'm a big believer of that. I'm never going to look at the cheapest because the cheapest is usually a reason it's the cheapest.
Yeah.
Right.
We usually have to come back behind people and fix the cheapest.
Right.
And you're probably in the same boat, I would assume.
100%. And that's part of the reason why we still have so much work, honestly.
Right.
So, yeah.
And integrity is another one that you mentioned too. That's us all the way. I'll tell people all the time, no, don't get solar. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
A solar company's telling me no. Like, I've got 3 other quotes from other companies. Good. Go with them. I'm telling you no because I'm looking out for you and your best interest. How much do I get paid by telling you no?
Right.
Nothing. I don't want you to come back a year later and say, this was a bad decision. Now I'm stuck with this. So I'm telling you no out of your best interest. So, because our integrity means everything.
We'll actually get bad reviews online for telling people no.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We've had a bad review. Actually, we just got one like 2 weeks ago. And the guy was mad that we couldn't come out for 2 weeks for a mini split estimate. And it's like,
was it Ralph? Did Ralph write the review?
It wasn't Ralph.
It's like, you didn't even use us. You have no experience with us. You're just mad because we couldn't come out for 2 weeks. That's so not fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
You hopefully respond to that.
I got a little heated and I kind of left that on the back burner for a minute.
Respond.
I will.
I responded. I don't send it.
Respond with.
Sit on it for a few days.
I'm sorry. Who are you again? Because I know you're not one of our customers.
Well, you're never going to make everyone happy, right? That's just the reality of it.
Right.
I think people have learned that when they look at reviews, you got to take some of them with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
There's just some of those people out there that they live for that stuff.
Right.
It is what it is.
I know. Armchair warriors.
Exactly. I like that you do mini splits. I installed a mini split in my garage. I don't know. You have to have a mini split in the garage.
Yeah.
Mine's solar though. It's kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
It works off electrical and solar.
Nice.
I'm sure they're very, very neat. I mean, we're just thinking, I got to turn that back on. It's getting hot. So,
you should do that.
Yeah, I got to store my stuff. But anyway, so if someone wants to get a hold of you, so tell us again, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you? They want to book an energy audit or anything at all they want to do with you.
Yeah. So our company is Ideal Air Conditioning and Insulation. Website is www.idealaraz.com.
Okay.
And our phone number is 480-839-0082.
And would you be upset if we sent our customers to you?
Absolutely not.
Because we do get those customers, like I mentioned before, I say, you should get an energy audit. And I go, okay. Because they have a relationship. They trust us. They go off our recommendations and they go, okay, who should I go with? And I'm always like, I don't know, Google it. Figure it. But we've never talked with anyone. So
we never have. And I'm going to tell you, this has been really good. I've learned a lot.
Awesome.
I really appreciate you spending time with us. And we are going to, I think if we get people that call, sure. I'm going to push them your way. We'll push them your way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It just makes sense for us. I love how you guys do business. I think you're very aligned with what we believe, and that's so important. So we should definitely share customers. So
awesome. Thank you.
Anything you want to add, Ben?
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you joining us.
Do you like the setup?
Thanks for having us. It's a beautiful office.
You're the first person to do this.
See?
I feel so honored that you chose me to be the first contestant.
Really like
we're 1 for 1.
We're 1 for 1.
So.
All right, so we're going to be back again soon. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming. It's just unbelievable the stuff we got coming lined up.
Lots of guests.
So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
All right.
You've been listening to the Harmon Solar Podcast with Ben and Ralph, bringing clarity to the intersection of solar power and smart home ownership. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share the show with others navigating the solar journey. For questions and topic suggestions, call 800-281-3189 or visit harmonsolar.com. You can also connect with the team on social media. See you next episode.